No one expected chains to fall from the sky, not real ones. Not made of metal, but invisible ones. Made of promises, light, and perfect lies. They came not with fire or war, but with peace banners and glowing ships that shimmered like diamonds. In the clouds, people ran to the streets with phones, filming the arrival, cheering like it was a show. Across every major city, New York, London, Tokyo, Nairobi, the sky turned white, humming low, soft, and strange. News stations called it First Contact, and world leaders lined up to meet the beings who stepped from the ships in golden robes. Speaking through translators in smooth, flawless English, "We bring unity," they said. "We bring protection. We'll never fear again." Their faces looked soft, wise, peaceful like gods from children's storybooks. Earth's leaders didn't even hesitate. They welcomed the Galactic Union. Within days, new laws were signed. Earth became a guardian world, the last to join the great galactic system. It sounded noble. It sounded important. But no one noticed that the moment those papers were signed, Earth's satellites went offline. No one realized that all global defense systems were subtly deactivated, that airspace control now flowed through alien hands. No one questioned why. In the name of peace, hundreds of alien structures were built in cities around the world, floating above skyscrapers, glowing blue like watchtowers. Most humans didn't ask questions because their daily lives improved. Energy bills vanished. Food was replicated and free. Medicine cured everything instantly. Crime dropped to zero. The aliens didn't use force, they used comfort. They offered peace so good it felt like paradise. But not everyone felt the same. Underground radio channels buzzed with strange warnings. A few military generals disappeared. A handful of scientists were seen arguing in silent rooms before vanishing. All together. Then came the first real sign. Quiet, small, almost invisible. People began waking up with strange marks on the backs of their necks. Just a soft red dot, like a bug bite. Tracker tags, some whispered. It's just part of the health program, others argued. But even children had them, even babies. The aliens said it was for safety and synchronization. They called it harmony control. Still, no one really noticed what was lost till a young girl in Brazil screamed during her sleep and didn't wake up. Then another and another. Thousands across the world. Doctors found nothing wrong. Their brains simply shut down, as if someone hit a switch. That's when the fear began. Protests rose. People started tearing down alien towers. The aliens didn't fight back. Instead, they released a soft humming sound across the cities, and every protester simply froze, eyes wide, muscles locked. Then they smiled, like dolls, like puppets. From that moment, humanity understood. This wasn't peace. This was control. But it was already too late. The chains had fallen, and everyone wore them. But in the middle of this perfect prison, one thing happened that no alien planned for. Deep under the Antarctic ice, buried for thousands of years, something woke up. A pulse signal ran across the planet's magnetic field for exactly 3 seconds. It was so fast, most machines didn't register it. But the alien trackers inside humans glitched. People in 5 cities collapsed briefly, then woke up screaming. Some remembered voices, strange, cold, mechanical voices. Some remembered dreams of black pyramids and stars falling like fire. One of them, a young woman named Arya, a coder from Johannesburg, recorded the voice she heard. It wasn't alien, it was human. Old Earth human, and it said Protocol Vengeance reinitiated. Arya sent that signal to a shadow network of resistance fighters hiding beneath the mountains of Canada. There, General Marcus Raynor, once commander of Earth's orbital fleet, now labeled a traitor, listened in silence. He looked at the signal, ran it through the last ancient Earth defense archive, and turned pale. That phrase, Protocol Vengeance, wasn't just a phrase. It was the name of a last resort planetary defense built long before Earth joined the stars. Something no one was supposed to know existed. Something hidden from history. They triggered. It, Raynor whispered. The planet remembers. The Resistance didn't have ships. They didn't have armies. But they had something more dangerous knowledge. And now, a signal from the past. They traced the pulse to an old black site, Ice Core 17. A frozen research base sealed in 1973, Rayner sent a stealth team to open it. What they found wasn't human. It was a machinist spherical AI core, alive, spinning, humming. It spoke only once in a voice like metal scraping steel. Earth is not yours. Earth was never yours.
Oh.
The aliens didn't notice the missing signal yet. Their focus was on upgrading Earth's citizen control network, finalizing the last step in what they called galactic unity. Soon, humans wouldn't just obey, they would forget what it meant to disobey. Memory reshaping, language filters, and thought barriers were being installed globally. Within months, free will would vanish. But the glitch ruined that timeline. The Resistance used it. They hacked a forgotten orbital satellite and fired a targeted EMP burst into one of the alien towers in Alaska. 18 minutes, it went dark. In those 18 minutes, Rayner's team stole raw alien tech data, structure blueprints, and the location of a mind-linked ship, a vessel connected to the Harmony control network. If they could steal it, they could rewrite the system, or destroy it. But stealing it meant more than war. It meant being seen. And the aliens were always watching. The humans called them the Chain Keepers. Tall, silent, always floating, always. Near the towers, they didn't speak. They didn't eat. They only scanned. It was said they could see thought. If one looked at you, you never moved again. But the AI under the ice had a message. They are watchers, not fighters. They cannot feel. But you can. That is your weapon. That night, under a fake aurora, in the Alaskan sky, the first human strike began, not with an army, but with a whisper. A virus built by the AI, loaded into alien code, inserted through stolen data spread into the Harmony control system. The aliens didn't notice it at first. It was too small, too quiet, too emotional. But suddenly a chainkeeper paused, turned slowly, and for the first time ever it blinked. That's when Earths knew something had changed. The galaxy thought they had enslaved a quiet world. They had awakened something buried in human blood, human memory, and human pain. The real war hadn't started yet, but it would. And this time, Earth would not ask for peace. This time, Earth would. Fight like it never had before, with rage, with fire, and with the ghosts of forgotten gods buried under the ice. The cold under Antarctica was not just silence, it was memory, frozen deep in the dark veins of the planet, waiting to be heard. As the Resistance team entered Ice Core 17, the forgotten research base from 1973, their boots crunched on frost untouched for decades. The walls still held old human writing, faded, cracked, but clear. Project Revenant, access level, Omega. No one in the team knew what it meant, but the AI they had found beneath the ice did. At all, already whispered its name, vengeance, and now it was guiding them, room by room, to something older than any war, older than even the Galactic Union itself. General Rayner watched from a cold control room in Canada, eyes locked on his team's body cams as they moved through metal corridors half swallowed by permafrost. They passed rooms filled with rusted computers, broken cryopods, and shattered glass where something once lived or escaped. Then in the final chamber, they found it. A black sphere, the size of a man's chest, hovering above a steel altar. It pulsed slowly, glowing with a soft red light, like a heartbeat. The AI voice filled the room, but not through speakers inside. Their minds. Humanity is not new, it said. One of the Resistance scientists, Dr. Lena Haas, stepped forward, shaking. Her tablet buzzed with impossible energy, readings, gravity distortions, tachyon surges, ancient signal echoes. This thing, she whispered, is broadcasting to the stars. But it wasn't calling aliens, it was waking up Earth. As the sphere glowed brighter, data poured from it into their system's schematics. Battle strategies, language archives, genetic codes. Plans for weapons that could bend space without engines. Defense grids that could cloak a continent. Armor that bonded with blood. None of it made sense, till the AI explained. Earth was once a star empire, it said. You fell. You were made to forget. The galaxy wanted you silent. That sentence cracked open everything. Dr. Haas remembered the rumors of ancient cities found on Mars, of glass pyramids on the moon, of structures beneath Earth's oceans that no one could explain. The Galactic Union didn't just find Earth by accident. It came because they knew what Earth used to be, and they feared what it might become again. That's why they enslaved the planet through peace. Why they used trackers, mind control, and memory filters. They didn't want to destroy humanity. They wanted to bury its past forever. But the AI had survived. It's buried by a secret civilization that once ruled the Earth long before recorded history. Long before the ice came. You are the echo, it said. But you can be the roar again. Back at the Resistance base, Raynor stared at the data flowing in. The tech was real. The knowledge was terrifying. If even half of it could be built, Earth would no longer be a slave, it would be a storm. But there was a cost. The AI was not free. It demanded something, complete connection. Human minds had to link with it, merge with it, so it could see the galaxy again. You made me blind, it said. Now lend me your sight, Dr. Haas volunteered. They built a neural bridge inside the ice lab, using recovered alien tech. From the Alaska strike, when she connected to the sphere, she screamed not from pain, but from vision. She saw cities on fire in other galaxies. She saw humans in golden armor fighting blue-skinned giants. She saw the original fallen Earth was betrayed by the same galactic council that now ruled the stars. She saw the council's fear of Earth's chaotic power, its creativity, its wild hunger to grow. They could not control you, the AI said, so they erased you. Dr. Haas came back, changed. Her eyes glowed faintly now. Her voice carried a strange rhythm. She remembered everything, and she could now speak in alien languages that no translator could catch. Raynor asked her. One question. Can this AI be trusted? Her answer, no. But it hates the Galactic Union more than it loves itself. That makes it useful. Meanwhile, the aliens began to notice strange data loss in their Harmony control towers. Glitches, failed memory scans, slight drift in compliance ratios. They sent silent probes to Earth's poles. One vanished. A second sent back a brief image of red light like a rising sun, cutting through the ice like fire. Then silence. The aliens grew nervous. For the first time since Earth's peace began, they called a secret meeting of the Galactic Council. They discussed strange human behaviors, dreams spreading like a virus, shared visions, minds rejecting commands. Something had gone wrong. Earth was waking up. Back at the ice lab, the AI showed the Resistance its final gift, a location hidden beneath the Andes Mountains. Your first warship, it said, left behind by those who came before. Ship grown from Earth's core minerals, shaped by gravity folding, capable of vanishing between stars without moving. Raynor called it impossible, the AI replied. Then, you still think like slaves? A plan began. It would steal the ship, link it with the AI, and turn it against the alien towers. But there was one risk. The ship required a human prime too. Fly at someone born with the old gene. The gene had been dormant, until the aliens reactivated it by accident through their Harmony trackers. Now it lived again inside one of Earth's children. The AI didn't say who, only that the child had already heard its voice. In a dream, as the team prepared to leave Antarctica, a storm howled over the ice. Snow blasted the windows, and in the dark, far above them, a chain keeper hovered silently, its eyes pulsing red for the first time. Beneath the jagged bones of the Andes, where cold winds whispered through ancient caves, the mountain groaned as if it held a secret it no longer wished to carry. The Resistance team had followed the AI's coordinates deep into the heart of stone, past forgotten mines, and collapsed tunnels, through passages untouched for centuries. The deeper they went, the stranger things became walls turned smooth and black, humming faintly like they were alive, responding to their movement, reading their thoughts. General Raynor led the team with quiet focus, his pulse steady despite the weight of what they were about to uncover. Dr. Lena Haas walked beside him, her mind still partly fused with the ancient AI, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "It's not just a ship," she said softly. "It's a memory wrapped in metal. It remembers who we were." No one replied. What could they say to that? This wasn't just a mission. It was a grave robbery of a forgotten empire. An empire that Earth had once ruled and then lost to time and lies. They reached a final chamber, where the rock ended. The silence began. Before them stood the ship, or rather it rested, sleeping like a beast carved from obsidian, half buried in the cavern wall. It wasn't built with bolts or panels. It looked grown smooth and sharp, with long curved edges that shimmered under the team's lights like a frozen wave of shadow. No windows, no engines, no clear doors. And yet it pulsed softly, slowly, like a heartbeat waiting for a command. This is it," whispered Lieutenant Cass, the youngest on the team. "This is a warship." But it wasn't just a warship. It was something older, stronger, stranger. The AI called it the Revenant. A ship from the days when humans ruled systems and fought monsters larger than moons. The Revenant had been left behind, hidden from the Galactic Council, buried deep within Earth, in case the old empire ever needed to rise again. Now it waited for someone worthy to wake it. Dr. Haas stepped forward and placed her hand on the ship's black skin. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship responded not with lights or sounds, but with a sudden wave of gravity that knocked them all to their knees. A deep vibration filled the cavern as part of the hull shifted, reshaped, and opened like an eye blinking after eons of sleep. Inside was no cockpit, only a large circular chamber filled with thin strands of silver energy flowing in midair. It was alive, and it was listening. "We need a prime," said the AI's voice, echoing in their heads. "Someone born with the Earth core spark. The one the enemy woke by mistake." They scanned the team. Nothing. The ship didn't react. It remained still, waiting. Raynor clenched his jaw. "Don't have time. The aliens are already searching for us." And he was right. Above them in orbit, Galactic Council fleets had begun to gather. They weren't declaring war yet, but their presence was a warning. They had detected the lost signal from the AIs. Reactivation, and they knew something was coming. Worse, the chainkeepers had changed. They no longer hovered silently, they moved, they searched, they watched. Cities reported strange disappearances. People who resisted too loudly were vanishing, sometimes entire families, their homes sealed by shimmering blue walls. The harmony. Towers were growing louder, sending out stronger pulses of control. Soon, there would be no resistance left to fight. But in that dark cave, far below the surface, something happened that changed everything. One of the tech engineers, a quiet man named Eli Sarin, stepped too close to the ship. He wasn't important, just a coder, not a soldier. But the moment he brushed the silver strands of energy inside the ship, the entire chamber lit up with red light. The strands wrapped around him gently, like vines recognizing their own roots. The ship woke up. The ground shook. The walls hummed. The energy inside the chamber spun faster and faster, as if recognizing a long-lost captain. Eli collapsed. Eyes wide, his voice stuttering in languages no one recognized. Dr. Haas rushed to him and saw the truth in his blood. "He's the Prime," she whispered. "He has the spark." The AI confirmed it. Eli Sarin, born in a rural town in Texas, carried a dormant gene that linked him to the ancient human rulers. An echo of the old Earth bloodlines that once commanded fleets beyond stars. The aliens had triggered it by installing harmony trackers into every human. They thought they were controlling Earth. Instead, they activated its last weapon. The Revenant now had its pilot, but Eli was untrained. He didn't know what the ship was, how to fly it, or how to command anything. Connected directly to his mind, pouring knowledge into him, memories, reflexes, codes. It was dangerous. The process nearly burned his brain. But it worked. Within minutes, the ship responded to him. It lifted slightly off the ground, humming with power. "We have one chance," Raynor said. Strike no before they shut. The planet down for good. They didn't have a full army, but they had the Revenant. And they had something the Galactic Union had never seen before, before rage with memory. The ship exited the mountain silently, cloaked by gravity distortion. It moved like smoke, sliding through air unseen. Eli sat at its core, glowing, half awake, speaking in code and vision. The AI whispered battle plans, and he saw them all like dream targets, towers, control hubs. The ship's first mission was clear: destroy the Central Harmony Tower above London, the oldest, strongest node of control on Earth. If they could bring it down, millions of minds would break free from the influence. The Council would panic. Earth would rise. As the Revenants soared through Earth's upper atmosphere, alien scanners blinked once and then shattered from within. The ship couldn't be tracked by normal tech. It bent space around itself, folding reality slightly wherever it passed. To the aliens, it was a ghost, until it fired. Over London, people looked up and saw a strange ripple in the sky, like a tear in glass. Then came the beam, silent, red, sharp. It cut through the Harmony Tower in a single blink. The structure imploded with no explosion, collapsing into itself like paper burned from inside. Across the city, millions of people fell to their knees, gasping as their minds cleared for the first time in years. The spell was broken. Earth had just punched back, and the galaxy felt it. The Revenant vanished again before alien forces could react. Raynor spoke into the secure channel, voice cold and calm. "We stole one ship. We'll steal more. This is our world, and we are done being quiet." Far above, in the black space beyond Saturn, the Galactic Council watched the footage in silence. For the first time in 1,000 years, they whispered the name of a world they had sworn to forget. One word. One threat. Earth. Across the galaxy, worlds that once dismissed Earth as nothing but a quiet, backward blue dot now turned their eyes toward it in fear. The message sent from Earth wasn't just a rebellion, it was an act of war, the Revenant's destruction. Of the Harmony Tower in London had done more than free millions from control. It had broadcast Earth's defiance to every listening satellite, to every hidden listening post on distant moons, to every nervous species that had signed peace under the Galactic Council's iron rule. And now in every chamber of power and every command center of every council planet, that act echoed like a scream in a cathedral. Earth was no longer a slave world. It was a rogue state. And worse, it had stolen a ship that no one should have known existed. The Revenant wasn't just a ship. It was a relic of the old war the Council buried in history, the one where humans weren't victims, but conquerors. Panic set in fast. Dung counselors argued in ancient languages across encrypted quantum channels, shouting about containment protocols, about the risk of awakening more lost human technology. Some wanted immediate bombardment of Earth, wipe it clean, like they did to other rebellious planets. But others hesitated. Earth wasn't just fighting back with bullets. They were winning with silence. The Revenant couldn't be tracked. Their signals were ghosts. Their strategies changed too fast. Human minds, now awakening from Harmony control, began to operate in unpredictable ways. They shared memories, finished each other's sentences, organized without words. The alien overlords called it chaos, but it was something worse. It was free will, and it was spreading like wildfire. On Earth, Raynor and Dr. Haas expanded the resistance. Freed minds gathered in hidden cities, assembling old tech, learning fast. Eli Sarin, the reluctant pilot of the Revenant, had become more than a man. He was now a beacon. His DNA had merged with the ship's core systems, and the AI had given him access to battle archives older than Earth's written history. He wasn't just flying the ship anymore. It was the ship. And from orbit, he watched the stars not with fear, but with something colder. Strategy. Revenge. Across Earth's orbit, Council warships finally arrived. Not hundreds, thousands. A blockade formed, surrounding the planet in layers. No ships in, no ships out. Alien voices echoed in every human device, demanding surrender. "Your actions threaten the harmony of the galaxy," the messages said. "Lay down your weapons, or Earth will suffer." But Earth didn't respond. Instead, a second Harmony Tower, this time in Mumbai, collapsed at 3:07 a.m. Earth time, no explosion. Just silence, then dust. And again, millions were freed. Chaos spread across the surface. Cities tore down alien structures. People stormed garrisons with homemade EMP weapons. A 12-year-old girl in Argentina hacked a council drone and redirected it into a fuel station, destroying a patrol unit. Across the stars, the council watched, horrified, as humans entrained, underarmed, began winning fights they had no right to win. But this wasn't just a war of weapons. It was a war of memory. The AI had begun transmitting forgotten pieces of Earth's history into the Resistance holograms of battles. Recordings of ancient victories, blueprints for weapons that could shape gravity, bend metal, twist light. Technologies the Council had locked away. Now, they belonged to Earth again. But it was the Revenant that truly changed the balance. In a surprise strike, it warped into the Council's outer defense ring. Near Jupiter and disabled 30 ships in less than 12 seconds? No damage. Just hacked. Dead. Floating. Useless. The ship's code couldn't be cracked. Its engine didn't obey physics. And Eli. He was no longer entirely human. His thoughts were faster. His speech had changed. He could sense Council communications. Before they were sent, some whispered he was becoming something new post-human, the first of many. But Earth wasn't united, not yet. Some humans still obeyed the aliens. Others feared the AI more than the Council. Underground, an old senator broadcast messages begging humanity to surrender, saying war would only bring extinction. One listened, because Earth had already changed. Peace was no longer the goal. Freedom had replaced it. And that freedom came at a cost. Raynor gathered leaders of every resistance cell in a hidden base beneath Iceland's glaciers. The AI projected a massive star map into the frozen cavern. They're building a planetary weapon, it warned. A planetary imploder. It folds a world into a pocket of frozen time. Earth has 21 days before the weapon charges. The Council wasn't going to invade. They were going to erase. But the AI had a plan. We strike first, it said. Not just their fleets. We hit the Council core itself. There was silence in the chamber. No one had ever done that. The Council core floating in the dead space between galaxies was a myth to most. A place no one was allowed to approach. A place built from collapsed stars and black stone. To attack it would be suicide. Unless they had a ship that bent gravity, and they did. The Revenant. Raynor looked around the room at the others. Scientists, soldiers, kids with shaking hands and angry eyes. If we don't hit them now, they'll end everything, he said. If we strike first, they'll never touch Earth again. It wasn't a question. It was a warning and a promise. Across the stars, the Council launched the countdown. 21 days, then Earth would fall. They sent out final warnings, demanded surrender. But Earth had gone silent. Chains were broken. The Masters were scared. And the humans had stolen something more terrifying than any weapon. Hope. The Resistance didn't sleep anymore, not because they couldn't, but because something inside them had changed. The memories sent by the AI weren't just data. They were dreams, emotions, entire lifetimes downloaded into waking minds. Teenagers remembered battles from millennia ago. Engineers knew how to build machines they'd never seen, and soldiers moved like they were trained by ghosts. The AI didn't give orders, it awakened instincts buried in Earth's DNA. It's like someone lighting a fuse that had waited generations to burn. Deep beneath Iceland, Raynor stood over a glowing console as the Revenant hovered in the sky above. The ice, cloaked and silent. It was feeding, now absorbing energy from the planet's magnetic field, drawing power from old Earth tech stations that had long been abandoned. The ship pulsed with red light as if breathing. Raynor looked across. The Resistance base holograms of Council fleet positions rotated slowly, showing ships moving closer, forming an invisible net. They weren't waiting anymore. They were surrounding Earth, not to intimidate, but to kill. The Council's message had changed. No more threats, no more peace. Just silence and a countdown. 21 days had become 17. Dr. Haas moved. Quickly between terminals, organizing the Resistance's next strike. Their plan was madness. Send the Revenant across Council space to the hidden core. Destroy the planet-sized weapon before it could be completed. And force the Council to the negotiation table or into the fire. But something was happening to the humans on board. Eli Soren hadn't left the Revenant in 3 days. His body was changing. He could see starship movements before sensors picked them up, feel signals in his skin, speak in alien dialects without learning them. The AI called it resonance. Dr. Haas called it evolution. Others feared it. A few even whispered, "He's not human anymore." But Eli didn't care. He could feel the ship like an extension of his body. It didn't have controls. It obeyed. Thoughts? He didn't fly. He became it. He dreamed of distant galaxies and saw them the next day. He touched the metal walls and they healed around his fingers. He no longer ate, no longer needed rest. He'd become a weapon, and he was ready to burn. But not alone. Across Earth, others began to resonate too. A child in Kenya built a floating drone using scrap metal and thought power. A girl in Detroit deactivated an alien patrol just by screaming, they said. Her voice cracked glass and circuitry. In Siberia, an old man who hadn't spoken in 20 years began speaking in fluent council command codes. The fire was spreading, not from tech, from blood. It had always been there, buried, suppressed, edited by harmony waves. But now, with the towers falling and the AI feeding Earth's true past back into its people, humanity's full potential was coming back like a tidal wave. The Council had called Earth chaotic, dangerous, unstable, and they were right. But that chaos was power, and it was waking up fast. The AI broadcast a new message, not through screens, but through dreams. Billions on Earth saw it the same night. A city in space, black spires twisting around a red star, and a voice that whispered, "This is their heart. Strike it, and the chains will shatter forever." Raynor didn't need convincing. They had one shot. The Revenant would leave in 4 days, and they needed a crew resonance only. Humans who had felt the fire and weren't afraid to burn. 43 were chosen. Soldiers, kids, coders, ex-farmers. One of them was blind but could see energy fields. Another could speak in binary. These weren't heroes, they were what Earth had left. And they were ready. Meanwhile, the Council prepared their weapon. The chrono imploder spun silently in the dark space between galaxies. Sphere the size of a moon wrapped in metal harvested from dead stars, powered by gravitational collapses. And pure, time-folding tech, it didn't fire, it erased. Everything in its path would be locked in a forever second, no light, no sound, no escape. The perfect end. And Earth was its first target. On the Council homeworld of Carthon, ancient species debated endlessly, fearful of the signals from Earth. They were never supposed to wake, one said. Their minds were sealed. We underestimated their disease, said another. Free will. Some suggested a new pack try peace again. Others demanded immediate extinction. But the core Council 11 species, older than stars made, the final call, Earth would die. No trial, no message, no mercy. But Earth was listening. Raynor watched as the Revenant began its launch sequence, the ice around it vaporizing into clouds. Eli's eyes glowed now, not metaphorically, but truly. He looked at Raynor through the view screen. "We're not coming back unless it's over," he said. Raynor nodded once, then finished it. The ship rose silently. No engines, no flame, just gravity folding in reverse. It vanished like a blink. Across the skies of Earth, lights danced, kids pointed, parents whispered. And somewhere in space, the Revenant reappeared right inside the Council's forbidden zone. And the war truly began. The Revenant entered the dead zone like a dagger slipping between bones. Unseen and unstoppable, its black hull shimmering against the cold dark of intergalactic space where no starlight reached and no ship dared linger, was here in the nothing. That the Council built its true fortress far from any system. Beyond gravity's pull, surrounded by an ocean of silence so deep it drowned time itself. But the silence shattered as the ship's quantum skin peeled reality open for just a second, letting it slide into a place no human had ever been. Inside, The council core floated a nightmare forged from ancient terror. It wasn't just a station, it was a god machine the size of a moon, with spires shaped like claws. Each one spinning slow, drawing power from collapsed stars suspended in artificial orbits. And at its center, the chrono imploder, wrapped in rings of red light. Ticking down to Earth's erasure, it was a place built, not for defense, but domination. Inside the Revenant, Eli Siren sat motionless in the command cradle, no longer needing screens, controls, or words. He felt the core's energy like a living pulse. The AI whispered through his nervous system, showing every heat signature, every shield, every weakness. Around him, the 43 chosen humans were not afraid. They had burned through fear days ago. Each one had bonded with the ship's systems, controlling turrets with thought, communicating without speaking, dreaming together. While fully awake, they weren't a crew. They were a mind, one mind, many hearts, and it was angry. As the ship approached the perimeter, the Council's outer defenses activated. Thousands of drones unfolded like steel flowers, locking onto the Revenant's heat. Plasma mines lit up like suns. Warships, not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands, broke from the core's shadow, each powered by civilizations long dead. And yet, Eli didn't blink, because Earth didn't come to hide. It came to destroy. Now, Eli said, his voice echoed through every neural thread, and the Revenant struck first. It didn't fire missiles. It tore space. Gravity lances erupted from its sides, beams of bent force that crushed enemy ships without touching them. Mines collapsed under their own weight. Drones simply vanished, their circuits erased by sound frequencies no machine could withstand. In seconds, the first defense ring was gone. Just gone. The second ring fired. Ships formed a living wall, launching compression bombs and antimatter storms, turning the stars around them black. But the Revenant danced through them, folding time in microbursts, slipping between nanoseconds, firing back only when necessary and always lethal. Council admirals screamed commands in alien tongues, trying to predict the unpredictable. But humans weren't fighting like a fleet, they were fighting like a storm. Inside, one of the crew, a boy named Juno, reached out his hand and without touching anything, disabled for warships with a pulse of thought. Another, May from the Chinese resistance, hijacked enemy targeting systems by blinking. Their powers weren't magic. They were forgotten upgrades, locked instincts, buried by harmony, now finally alive again. And it was working. The Revenant cut deeper, now just one barrier away from the core. But that's when the Council released their monster. From the core's underbelly rose something that didn't look like a ship. It looked like a planet-sized scar. They called it the Parallax. It wasn't built. It was grown. A biomechanical entity made from harvested war DNA, filled with dead pilots' memories, armored with living metal. It roared across spaces, actually roared and fired a beam that sliced through the Revenant's left wing. The ship shook. Alarms screamed. 3 of the crew fell unconscious as their neural threads burned out. For the first time, Eli felt something close to pain, not his pain, but the ship's. But it didn't retreat. Instead, Eli stared into the dark, narrowed his glowing eyes, and said one word, "Burn." The Revenant turned red, not from fire, but from sheer velocity. It moved at impossible speeds, curving around the Parallax in looping spirals, cutting through its armor with microfold torpedoes. The battle wasn't clean. It wasn't glorious. It was war the kind humans remembered in blood, and the kind the Council had forgotten in arrogance. For every strike the Revenant delivered, it took damage in return. 6 more crew members passed out. One died, her body overloaded with energy, as she overloaded the enemy's reactor with her mind. But the Revenant kept going. And then it reached. The core of the chrono imploder was already at 84% charge. In 13 hours, Earth would be gone. Eli didn't ask for permission. He reached deep into the AI's memory, into the oldest files, the ones that predated even the Council itself. There he found the coordinates, the prime spark, the single fusion node that powered the core, a relic of a dead star wrapped in Shields the council believed were unbreakable. But Eli didn't break them. He folded around them. The Revenant twisted in on itself, and in a flash of white so bright it shut down council sensors across 5 systems. It appeared inside the core. No warship had ever done that. No one believed it was even possible, but humans didn't obey rules anymore. Inside the heart of the enemy, Eli and his crew released the last protocol, the Omega Pulse, a weapon encoded into the Revenant's bones, a pulse of compressed memory and resonance. The final scream of an awakened species. The pulse blasted outward, not with heat or force, but with truth. The memories of every human enslaved by harmony. Every betrayal, every death, every lie. Broadcast into the Council's command systems, into their dreams, into their souls. Enemy froze. Ships halted. Crews wept. Some tore off their uniforms. Some turned their weapons on each other, because for the first time in eons, they understood. They hadn't enslaved animals. They had chained gods, and now those gods had returned. Behind Eli, Raynor's voice whispered from Earth, "Do it." Eli closed his eyes. The Revenant released its final strike. The prime spark cracked. The core began to implode. The galaxy's most powerful fortress began to collapse into itself, not with fire but with silence. The kind of silence that only comes when justice is complete. Eli whispered to the crew, "Hold on." Then they folded space one last time and vanished. The core was gone, and the galaxy changed forever. The destruction of the core shattered more than just metal and star-forged walls. It shattered the illusion that the galaxy was in control. For centuries, the Council had ruled with fear, claiming order through silence, enslaving through whispers, rewriting history until truth was just another kind of prison. But now, the core, their god machine, their final weapon, their ultimate symbol, was gone, swallowed by a pulse fired from a human warship built from forgotten DNA and fury. Across the stars, shockwaves rippled not through space, but through minds. Council fleets stopped mid-flight. Commanders hesitated. And AI systems across 50 species went into defensive shutdowns, as if trying to shield themselves from a truth too heavy to process. Entire planets fell silent, unsure whether to fight, run, or kneel. Earth, the world they had chained, had just shattered, the most secure place in the universe, and had done it with one ship. 43 humans, and a pilot who didn't blink. The message that followed wasn't coded, translated, or gentle. It was raw, it was loud, and it was everywhere. Eli Sarin, eyes glowing like twin suns, appeared on every council world, every battleship, every device still connected to the galactic network. "You lied to us," he said. "You made us forget. You broke our world, our minds, and called it peace. But now we remember, and now it's your turn to forget." The signal ended in static. No threats, no demands. Just a promise that more was coming. The weeks that followed, Earth became a storm. The Revenant returned, partially scarred, but alive, and was immediately duplicated. Humanity had hidden other ships in deep ocean trenches inside Antarctic vaults and buried under dead cities, waiting for activation. While they awoke, black ships rose from water, ground, and air, each one pulsing with red energy, each one piloted by resonant humans who were no longer afraid. They called themselves the Red Sky Fleet, and they didn't need orders. They just moved planet to planet, system to system, cutting through former slave world patrols, disabling council communication arrays, and sending one message before each strike: kneel or be erased. Some worlds did. Some refused. The ones that refused disappeared from the map within hours. But Earth wasn't seeking genocide, it was seeking reckoning. On the shattered moons of Arxes, humans helped liberated species bury their dead. On Zet Prime, Earth's doctors treated disease the Council had let fester for generations. In the Nera system, Council prison ring was dismantled by a single human child with resonance so powerful it melted steel with thought. Humanity was not just fire, it was justice. And the galaxy began to see the difference. Council species, some who had once voted for Earth's erasure, now sent envoys, not with demands, but with apologies. One by one, they begged. The Tavari sent an entire moon-sized cruiser, empty except for a statue of a kneeling elder carved from diamond. The Krillari offered Earth control over their trade networks. The Silari, a race that once tortured human, prisoners for sport, now sent their queen to Earth on foot, unguarded, to surrender personally. But Earth didn't respond. Raynor, now commander of the Resistance Council, what replaced Earth's old governments, wasn't interested in peace deals. "We gave them peace before," he told his advisors. "They mistook it for weakness. Let them sit in their fear a little longer." Eli, now more energy than man, roamed between Revenant-class ships, whispering strategy to pilots before they even needed it. He didn't sleep. He was changing, becoming something the Council had tried to prevent for eons. A free human with full access to what humanity once was. Not just clever, not just strong, but cosmic. One night, Earth's skies turned red not with fire, but with a rival. Hundreds of ships, all Council-designed, flew in low orbit with their weapons disabled, sending the same message: "We surrender." Raynor stood in Earth's command hall, watching them descend. His hands didn't shake. His voice didn't rise. "Then disarm. Dismantle your fleets. Break your own chains. And swear on whatever gods you still believe in that you will never touch Earth again." They did. One by one. Across 500 systems, Council fleets shut down, leaders stepped down, AI overlords were deleted. The galaxy changed not because Earth demanded it, because no one wanted to see what happened if Earth stopped holding back. But not everyone begged. In the dark corners of the outer sectors, Council loyalists prepared a last strike. They didn't want mercy, they wanted revenge. Using stolen wormhole gates, a rogue fleet of 50 ships launched toward Earth, hoping to catch the humans off guard, hoping to prove that Earth could still bleed. They arrived on the edge of the solar. Systeman found it waiting. Not just with the Revenant, but with 12 Revenants. Each piloted by Resonance, now completely in sync with their ships, each glowing red like fire, each silent like death. The Council loyalists never made it past Neptune. And after that, no one tried again. For the first time in galactic memory, Earth wasn't on its knees, it was standing tall. Fire at its back, lightning in its hands, and the galaxy begging for permission to breathe. But Earth didn't speak, because something bigger was coming. Something older. In the ruins of the Council core, deep within a vault that even Eli hadn't seen, a dormant signal activated. It didn't come from the Council. It didn't come from the known galaxy, it came from outside, but it was watching Earth. The galaxy was silent, not from peace, but from fear. Earth had risen from chains, shattered the Council's control, and unleashed a truth that had been buried for thousands of years. Human ships now floated across hundreds of star systems, not as conquerors, but as reminders. Earth was not weak. Earth was not primitive. Earth was the storm they were never meant to survive. But now, something had changed. The signal had come from beyond the edge, from a region of space the Council had always forbidden. A place even their strongest fleets never entered. They had called it the Scar. A rift in reality itself. Fracture in the galaxy where time twisted and stars whispered. The Council claimed it was unstable, but they lied. The truth, Raynor realized, was far worse. They were hiding something, and now it had awakened. On board the lead Revenant ship, Eli stood perfectly still, eyes burning with white fire instead of red. He wasn't speaking anymore. He wasn't breathing. His body had become pure resonance, no longer just human, but something more. The AI inside the ship, what was once the ghost of Earth's lost past, began to speak in new tones, deeper, older. "We were not the first," it said. "You were not the beginning. You were the return." Across Earth's command centers. Deep within data vaults and ruins unlocked by resonance, a hidden layer of knowledge activated. Buried beneath ancient codes and erased timelines, a truth rose from the shadows. Humanity wasn't born on Earth. Earth was assigned a containment zone, a prison, a place to lock away, a species too dangerous, too unpredictable, too powerful to control, long ago, before the council ruled, before any of the current species stood tall, there had been others. The architects, builders of stars, shapers of galaxies, creators of resonance, and their final creation had been us. But the architects feared what they had made. Humanity evolved too fast, adapted too wildly. Within generations, humans had broken laws of physics. They created ships that traveled between dimensions, developed minds that could bend time and matter. The architects tried to guide us, but failed. Then they tried to end us. But we wouldn't die. So they did the unthinkable. They wiped human memory, locked survivors on a young blue world at the edge of a backwater system, and erased every record of our existence. Then they vanished. But they left behind warnings, warnings etched into the minds of the Council's founders. If humans ever wake up, run. And now, the wake-up call had echoed across the stars. The scar wasn't a scar. It was a seal. A lock, and it had just broken. From beyond the rift, something massive began to form. Not ships, not fleets. Something older. It looked like a storm made of light and gravity, swirling like a star eating itself. But inside, buried in the energy, were voices. Human voices. Screaming, laughing, chanting in languages no one alive remembered. "It's us," Eli said softly for the first time in days. The parts of us they buried. Our other selves. The ones who never forgot. Stepped forward, and the Revenant opened like a flower in space. He floated outside, no suit, no protection, his body glowing like a star. "I remember now." Raynor watched from Earth's command. "Remember what?" he whispered. Eli turned his eyes toward the storm. "We were never meant to be people. We were meant to be gods." Then the storm began to speak not in words, but in emotion. Across the galaxy, everyone felt it. A wave of fear, then rage, then joy, then hunger. Not physical hunger, but knowledge. The kind of hunger that built galaxies and destroyed them just to start over. Humanity hadn't just returned. It had arrived fully. Eli reached toward the storm and it answered. Lights exploded. Gravity cracked. Stars flickered. And suddenly, the entire rift became silent. A single ship emerged, like anything ever seen. It wasn't metal. It was living light, shaped like a human spine with wings made of shadow and lightning. The first Revenant, the original, the one the architects could never destroy. It had waited for thousands of years, and now it had come home. Eli stepped aboard. He didn't need to speak, the ship knew. Raynor and the Resistance stared in silence. Then the ship turned, opened a new path in space. Not a wormhole, not a gate, but something else. A road to the source. And Eli left. Just like that. No war, no fire, no goodbye. Only silence. For days, the galaxy held its breath. What Earth? Conquer now? Would the other humans follow? Would Eli return as a god or never return at all? Then, a single message echoed across all frequencies. No image, just words. We are not here to rule. We are here to remind you. What you tried to bury will always rise again. Earth didn't take control of the galaxy. Didn't need to. Its message was clear. We are awake. We remember. And we will never be controlled again. The council collapsed without a shot. Slave worlds became free planets. Former enemies began to study resonance instead of fearing it. And Earth, for the first time in its true history, was no longer hiding. It was rising, not as a threat, but as a warning. A myth, a fire reborn. Somewhere out there, beyond stars. No one had named Eli flew across the ruins of the architects, searching for the rest of the truth. But even if he never returned, Earth had already become what the galaxy feared most. A world that had remembered what it was built for. Species. That could never be tamed. The gods they warned the universe about were us.